All right, here we go again. We're doing the painting of a cat jaybird surrealism piece. Here's some of the finished angles here, but if you're super excited, I went ahead and did the gold first on this one, the first layer, so we get right into the fun stuff, which is, I have a lot of fun with the gold, but which would be our calico tabby. So it's kind of an orange tabby cat, but with some calico, but with a little bit of a calico feel. And mostly I became really preoccupied with this cat's eyes because I know it's very hard to tell and to see, but the eyes were just not quite right. And so even though I maybe didn't get the clips, I corrected the eyes and it shows more in the end, but it's going very quickly, so you don't really get to see the corrections of it. But in a certain angles of the painting, you can see what I mean by they just weren't quite right. The other thing with this particular piece is, and that I was really kind of excited about, is the whole time I'm like, I really should put the glass green ladybugs, like in the last piece, in this painting. And I just, because I love those ladybugs so much, and I was having a really hard time deciding. I did put in the butterfly. I kept her as the subject, or as one of the subjects of this piece, and I decided to start with a white underground because I did plan on having her that attractive green. Although I did the butterfly at a much lighter green, sagey, like even lighter than, well, you'll see. It's very, very light, more of a sage feel. I do come in here again, you kind of see it, and lighten it up even a little bit more with the yellows. And also even with my cat here, when I come back to work the cat, right now I'm actually taking green that I used in the butterfly, and I'm kind of dancing around the painting a little bit to put a little bit of that color in the cat or on the belly of the jaybird, because I've talked about this before in my paintings. I like to have a little bit of the mix of the colors, everything in the painting sharing that mix. And it's a little trickier with the gold because, of course, in a few pieces of mine, I do a little bit of a gold reflection on the animals, but in most of them, I don't. And most of them, it's just kind of separating them out. And I also, in this one, like the two last ones, the red background, I wanted to keep it matte instead of textured and shiny red. So I dilute and just did the red in more transparent layers. And I also came back in here and added just a slight bit of that lemon yellow to the white, which really makes white brighter than white. I don't know how to put it, but it does. It actually makes the white stand out even a little bit more, and hard to kind of explain why. It just, instead of the white being kind of a flat color, it just really makes it pop. So we did that. I'm going ahead and I'm putting on our second layer of gold. It might even need a third layer. I'm kind of waiting for everything to dry to see. But before we touch up the red, I mentioned this in the last video as well. And if you are interested in seeing the other videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. I welcome the comments. I have a few other videos where this is the whole surreal with gold embellishments that we're doing. And also, if you want to support me and what I do, I will have in the description below links to the different platforms that I offer my artwork on. Depending on when you see this video, the art might be available. If you don't see it, it could just be sold already, but I try to list before or soon after I finish the videos. I try to have that art up and available. But again, it's just, it's a hit or miss, right? If you aren't sure and you have questions about anything, of course, you can ask, but there is a slim chance that it will already be sold by the time you see the video. You never know. So Again, I was still here during the whole painting, just really considering, even when I was putting on some of the red. Right here, I'm just erasing any of the little white marks that I made for references, like for when I was drawing out my design, but I still had to come in with another light transparent layer of red. Again, this whole time, I just keep thinking about the glass screen ladybugs and how I really wanted to add them to this piece too. I ended up really, really liking this piece though, and I was kind of like, you always risk when you're like, do I go another step? Because ultimately, I don't think the green ladybugs would have messed it up at all. I think that they are amazing. And it gives it even a much more surreal feel. I don't know. I really, really liked this one. The only thing also that kept distracting me was the adjustments and the correction I needed to make on my cat's eyes. I know it might be very hard to tell, but there was definite adjustments that needed to happen, and so those finally happened. But here I was just basically, as my finish up touches, cleaning up the gold with a little bit of the red. The red was still a little thin in some areas, and I wanted to make sure I had another transparent layer of that to go over it. And the whole time I'm usually kind of stressing a little bit because I want to keep that red in this one, and I think in the last two I wanted to keep the red matted and not that high gloss that acrylic can have, which means it has to go on a really thin transparent layer. And I wanted to keep it untextured. And sometimes when you're working with the acrylics, you're working with them too, because you can create a nice texture or a nice sheen, and I guess I had to make it hard on myself, and I wanted it to be that flat matte red because I wanted the gold shiny leaves to just really pop. Now, like my heron one, the heron with the flowers, I did the red much thicker and even textured with the red moon that one has. And then again, I'm also enjoying using the gold in several different ways on these particular pieces, and I'll throw in some examples here of what I mean. Again, I just want to give you another friendly reminder to subscribe and join me for some more creating and making fun. We're going to be doing some things besides art as well. I have some cooking and just whatever. As long as it's creating and making something, it's got to be on this channel. But right here, what I'm doing is I could see, because I was doing transparent red, I could see a gold mistake. And what I've learned is if I go over it with a little bit of opaque white and just let that dry first, I can come back over it with the red later and help to correct any gold errors. But again, have to be very careful, because even when you're doing the white underneath, it's like my biggest thing is preventing it from going shiny rather than just being a nice matte red. I don't know why I have to make things so hard on myself. I really don't. I'm probably going to go back to doing thick reds, but I just really like the look. I like whenever I'm doing different pieces is from the ground up, you're kind of like, I like the look and where it's going. So yeah, so I kind of want to keep it going that direction, and yeah. And then even on some of these, I went over the gold with a little bit of red, and not intentionally at all, but it's fine with reversing that, meaning I can just go back over the gold with the red, like this one, how nice and beautiful and dark that gold is. Last one with the raven would be the opposite of this, whereas I'm just making the gold the full background, which I do like that a lot. I like lots of golds, and here I'm not really intending to show any of the red. I'm just the gold and the subject, and I'll have some more of those too. But I just really I like the gold. I keep waiting to get sick of the gold, and I just am not. And until I do get sick of the gold, there will be some gold work available. This is my personal assistant here working really hard for me. And that's, yeah, he's a model for a lot of my cat stuff. If you do also have a gray tabby cat, you can find some charcoal pastels in my stores of Rocky being my model, or you know of somebody who has a gray tabby and is a cat lover, I do have some pastel charcoals paintings in the platforms. I like this gold too because of how buttery it goes on. Now usually when I do textures under the gold, I actually use a fabric paint because the fabric paint doesn't dry flat, it dries like textured. But in these, what I did is I just really used the thick gold to get these little effects. And you'll see what I mean if you go into my store and there's still some available, you see what I mean by the textured. Again, thank you so much for joining me. And if you are interested in this video with the green ladybugs, you can go to the channel and check that one out. We have that one there too. I hope you have an amazing week until the next video.